Welcome back to The Weakest Link. You've all played before, you've all won before. And you know from experience there is no second prize on The Weakest Link. Bear that in mind as we start round 5. It's important you work as a team to improve your total of $31,400. It's also important you work well as individuals to once again avoid taking the walk of shame. 10 seconds off the clock, and now only 5 of you left. Jacob, as the strongest link from the last round, we'll begin with you. Let's play The Weakest Link. Start the clock. Jacob, which festival beginning with E commemorates the resurrection of Jesus?
Easter.
Correct. Simon, a system of retail trading in which the buyer makes regular installment payments is called hire what?
Purchase.
Correct. Mark, according to the nursery rhyme, what was the name of the piper's son who stole a pig?
Peter.
Tom. Julie, what is the first name beginning with M of the US pop singer whose surname is Ciccone?
Madonna.
Correct. Matt, which heavy metal is an anagram of the word deal, as in dealing cards?
Lead.
Correct. Jacob, known as the Met, the Metropolitan Opera House is in which eastern US city?
New York.
Correct. Simon.
Bank.
In the British peerage, what rank is indicated by the abbreviation BART?
Baronet.
Correct. Mark, a punker is a form of what cooling device?
Air conditioner.
Fan. Julie, at 110, Australia's oldest man and Olympic torch carrier is Jack who, beginning with L?
Lindsay.
Lockett. Matt, which 3-letter snake-like freshwater fish migrates to the sea to breed?
Eel.
Correct. Jacob, poets Christopher Brennan and Banjo Patterson came from which country?
Australia.
Correct. Simon, which word that suggests unsteadiness and begins with Q is the common name for a member of the Society of Friends?
Quaker.
Correct. Mark, to which country do the islands called the Cyclades belong?
Great Britain.
Greece. Julie, which M is the smallest portion of any compound that can exist independently, and time is up, and I cannot complete that question. Well, well, well. Caught out at last. You only picked up $1,000. This show is called The Weakest Link, not Links. The rules only allow for one of you to be removed each round. What a pity. In a showcase to find the strongest of the strongest links, you've all gone from contenders to pretenders. The choice will be difficult. Time now to vote off the weakest link.
At this crucial time in the game, Mark is the weakest link, with all his answers incorrect. Statistically, Simon is the strongest link, having made no mistakes. Who will take no further part in the game?
All right, team, voting's over. Time now to reveal the weakest link.
Mark.
Mark.
Julie.
Mark.
Mark.
Jacob, why Mark?
Basically, he's been a very good contestant, but he sort of fell to pieces in that round, and it was the obvious choice.
Julie, your incorrect answer could have seen your own flame snuffed out. Why Mark?
Too many and didn't bank when he could have.
OK, Simon, your turn.
The poor kid's brain exploded. He needs a good lie down to recover.
Well, have you finished?
Yeah.
Mark, we're looking for the best of the best, but the team wants you to join the rest. They consider you a wealth hazard. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The game was different this time. I thought it was a bit more cutthroat. If anyone should be here instead of me, it'd probably be either Jacob or Simon. They made a lot more mistakes. I mean, I thought I actually had some of the harder questions probably in the whole game. I think Julie's sitting back and just watching the other contestants. I mean, she's made a few mistakes herself and they haven't seemed to notice them. She could win if she plays her game right.
Round 6 now, and you have a bank of $32,400. At the start of the night, there were 9 of you. All of you winners in your own right. Now only 4 of you remain. The nervous excitement you felt at the start of the game looks like to have been replaced by just nerves. 5 of the team have already faced the humiliation of the walk of shame. It's time to see who amongst you shall be joining them. 10 seconds less on the clock leaves you with 1 minute and 40 seconds to reach your target of $10,000. We start with the strongest link from the last round, and that was you, Simon. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Simon, the name of which segmented insect suggests that it has 100 legs?
Centipede.
Correct. Julie, speaking foolishly is often said to be talking through what article of headwear?
Your hat.
Correct. Matt, an envelope with stamps postmarked on the first day of issue is called a first day what beginning with C?
Cover.
Correct. Jacob, what liquid is said to be carried by the constellation figure Aquarius?
Water.
Correct. Simon.
Bank.
Which African country with a 2-word name totally encloses the kingdom of Lesotho?
South Africa.
Correct. Julie, which 3-letter word goes with cow, chicken and small to make 3 disease names?
Pox.
Correct. Matt, which is the only vowel in the New South Wales name of Wollongong?
U.
O. Jacob, the UN-like world body formed after World War I was called the League of what?
Nations.
Correct. Simon, which 5-letter international organization beginning with M admits only people with a high IQ?
Mensa.
Correct. Julie, in a popular saying, when the good is distinguished from the bad, which animal is separated from the sheep?
The goats.
Correct. Matt, what bodily function starting with D is difficult or impaired in dyspepsia?
Digestion.
Correct. Jacob, the US novelist whose pseudonym was the same as the capital of England was Jack who?
London.
Correct. Simon.
Bank.
Kofi Annan from Ghana is Secretary General in which international organization?
The UN.
Correct. And time is up. $5,000. No doubt you've asked your family and friends to watch you on television. Well, that's turned out to be an embarrassing mistake, hasn't it? Someone is about to find out for the first time what lies on the other side of the walk of shame. Who will you decide you can do well enough without? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Once again, statistics show Simon is the strongest link, answering all his questions correctly and banking the team's entire total of $5,000. Matt is the weakest link. Will the votes follow the evidence?
End of voting, pens down. Time to reveal your choice of the weakest link.
Matt.
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 Jacob.
Simon, why Matt?
Near enough is not good enough. He's had a good night, but he fell over at the last hurdle.
Julie, your reason?
I grew up in Wollongong.
That's the only reason.
I know there's lots of those.
Matt, you have to pay the price for misspelling Wollongong. The team have displayed they will not tolerate incorrect answers. This round was no exception. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
It was one strike and you're out in the early rounds. But as we progressed, there were some strategies coming into play. The next round is very much a big decider. I think the next person voted off could be Jacob. To be honest, I don't really know who the final 2 will be.
Nice.
You are back with the weakest link. The 3 of you have reached round 7. And as you know from your previous efforts on the weakest link, only one of you will take home the money. It currently stands at a rather uninspiring $37,400 instead of the $60,000 it could have been. For one of you, this will be the last round, and for the first time, you'll experience what it's like to go home with nothing. Might I suggest you put in an effort to improve your standing with your fellow team members? With another 10 seconds removed, you now have 1 minute and 30 seconds. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round, and that was you, Simon. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Simon, according to the proverb, you should strike while which metal is hot?
Iron.
Correct. Julie, beginning with T, what kind of living thing is a Himalayan deodar?
A deer.
Tree. Jacob, a severe reprimand is sometimes described as which jumping insect in your ear?
Flea.
Correct. Simon, which temperature scale is indicated by the capital letter F?
Fahrenheit.
Correct. Julie, which of the 4 seasons contains only one vowel?
Spring.
Correct. Jacob, an Anglican welfare organisation founded in Melbourne in 1930 is the Brotherhood of which saint?
St. Lawrence.
Correct. Simon,
Bank.
an antipyretic is a drug used to lower a high what?
Blood pressure.
Temperature. Julie, a poker machine with a side lever operation is sometimes called a one-armed what?
Bandit.
Correct. Jacob, what symbol of sovereignty describes land belonging to the government?
The crown.
Correct. Simon, which G means washing your throat with liquid kept in motion by your breath?
Gargle.
Correct. Julie,
Bank.
Priscilla White changed her name to the opposite and was known as the singer Cilla what?
Black.
Correct. Jacob,
Bank.
which Cromwell was Lord Protector of England from 1653 to 1658? And time is up. And the answer to that question was Oliver. $3,200. As a last hurrah for one of you, I would have thought a supreme effort might have been applied. Money aside, avoiding the walk of shame should have been some incentive to try a little harder. Oh well, as you are aware, for the final rounds we require only 2 players. Who will you decide you're better off without? Who will be a spectator for the final round? Time to vote off the weakest link.
The strongest link statistically is Jacob, with all his questions answered correctly. For the first time in the game, Julie is the weakest link. It's the last time the team will vote. Will Julie's performance be fresh in their minds?
Okay, voting's over, pens down. Time now to reveal the weakest link.
Julie.
Julie.
Jacob.
Jacob, it has not escaped my notice that you and Simon have voted the same way all evening. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that you want to get rid of Julie, but I have to ask you why.
Well, clearly we've of a like mind.
I'll leave it at that. Simon, do you have anything to add to that?
Darling, I got nothing left to say.
Simon, your darling, I am not. Julie, about the table you bought with your winnings last time. It looks like the family will just have to stand around and eat for a little bit longer. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I was really disappointed not to get an opportunity to go into the final because I thought I had a very, very strong chance against either of them. I knew I was playing with 8 other very strong people, so it was going to be the way the cookie crumbled.
It's round 8, and as you both know, the final opportunity to seriously top up your bank. You currently have $40,600, but I'll treble whatever you collect this round. If you reach your target, that will mean an increase of $30,000. I'll take a further 10 seconds off the clock, so you only have 1 minute and 20 seconds to do so. Remember, every mistake you make will slow you down and cost you money. Jacob, you were the strongest link in the last round. We will start with you. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Jacob, the small mammal covered with sharp spines and a pig-like snout is the hedge what?
Hog.
Correct. Simon, which Dolly is the blonde American country singer who recorded Dumb Blonde?
Parton.
Correct. Jacob, what is the adjective from the name of the English region known as Cornwall?
Cornish.
Correct. Simon, in filming, pan or panning is a shortened form of what word also beginning with P?
Pass.
Panorama. Jacob, Confucius was an influential philosopher from which Asian country?
China.
Correct. Simon, starting with M, what is the medical term for nearsightedness?
Myopia.
Correct. Jacob, Which is the smallest state in the USA?
Rhode Island.
Correct. Simon. The Nobel who founded the prize made his money from which explosive beginning with D?
Dynamite.
Correct. Jacob.
Bank.
Taking air to the lungs, the human trachea is commonly known as the wind what?
Pipe.
Correct. Simon. Which writing with an Italian name beginning with G is often found on public walls and spaces?
Pass.
Graffiti. Jacob. In the USA, the song America is sung, time is up, and I cannot complete that question. You managed $2,000 out of a possible $10,000. By virtue of the fact you are still here, and you were both winners on previous shows, you should be the cream of the crop. Well, after that effort, you're rancid. After trebling that to $6,000, you're left with a total bank of $46,600. One of you will take home the full amount tonight, and just like last time, there'll be no prizes for second. Who wants the money most? We shall find out after the break as Jacob, the manager, and Simon, the engineer, go head-to-head in our final round on The Weakest Link. Welcome back to The Weakest Link. It's time for the final round and to find out who tonight's winner will be. Jacob and Simon, you are battling it out for a bank of $46,600. You've both been at this point before, and you both left with all the money. Tonight, the experience will change as one of you will leave with nothing. This round, I will ask alternate questions, the best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. However, if there's a tie after 5, we'll play sudden death until we have a winner. Jacob, as the strongest link, you have the choice of who goes first, and who would that be?
I'll go first, thank you.
Jacob, your first question. From which continent did Sir Walter Raleigh bring tobacco back to Elizabethan England?
North America.
That answer is correct. Simon, which American bass singer was famous for his performance of Old Man River?
Paul Robeson.
That answer is correct. Jacob, to which now current Australian possession was some of the population of Pitcairn Island moved in 1856?
Norfolk Island.
That answer is correct. Simon, what was the 2-word metallic name of the ideological barrier in Europe after 1945?
The Iron Curtain.
That answer is correct. Jacob, the US Constitution specifies the minimum age for a presidential candidate as what?
$21.
That answer is incorrect. The correct answer is 35. Simon, plumbum, the Latin word for the metal lead, gives us the name of what tradesperson?
A plumber.
That answer is correct. Jacob, known as the Enlightener, Ho Chi Minh became president of which Asian country?
Vietnam.
That answer is correct. Simon, of the 3 great religious leaders, Jesus, Mohammed, and Buddha, which one came first chronologically?
Jesus.
That answer is incorrect. The correct answer was Buddha. Jacob, what is the popular name for the most famous chorus in Handel's Messiah?
The Hallelujah chorus.
That answer is correct. Simon, you must answer the next question correctly to remain in the game. Who solved the problem of the Gordian knot by cutting it?
Alexander the Great.
That answer is correct. We have a tied situation and will now play sudden death. The questions will continue now in pairs. If Jacob gets his question correct, Simon will also have to answer correctly or he will lose. Equally, if Jacob answers incorrectly, Simon must answer correctly to win the game. Let's play sudden death. Jacob, what is the name of the Balkan Republic whose capital is Belgrade?
Yugoslavia.
That answer is correct. Simon, you must answer the next question correctly to remain in the game. On which Atlantic islands does Argentina have a territorial claim?
The Falkland Islands.
That answer is correct. Jacob, which classical composer wrote the symphony known as the Chorale?
Again, please.
Which classical composer wrote the symphony known as the Chorale?
And then in sports.
Beethoven.
That answer is correct. Simon, again, you must answer the next question correctly to remain in the game. In mathematics, which letter of the Greek alphabet equals approximately 3.142?
Pi.
That answer is correct. Jacob, which famous king of ancient Wessex fought against